What is going on, guys? Happy Sunday, and I hope all is well. In today's video, I will be covering the news that we got on Tesla this past trading week, how I handled the news, and my expectations for price action moving forward. To get right into it, Friday morning at 11 a.m., we got an article from Reuters stating exclusive Tesla scraps low cost car plans amid fierce Chinese EV competition. This article was later proven to be false from Elon. Actually, 30 minutes after it came out, Elon tweeted, Reuters is lying, parentheses again. But if you've been keeping up with the Chinese EV market, you know that there are several cheaper alternatives to electric vehicles popping up all over China, especially from the Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi and the Chinese automaker BYD. These vehicles are intended for extremely tight packed urban areas. They have barely any horsepower at all. They have about a 200-mile range, and their price ranges from $27,000 to $44,000 in the high end. My personal opinion, this is just cheap Chinese crap, but people are willing to buy it because it's the new thing. It will probably last for 3 to 4 years before the car just starts to crap out. If it was Japanese made, that would be a completely different story, but it is not. So, how did this article impact price action on Friday? We got an almost instantaneous $10 drop. We went from 170 down to 160. Elon came out at 11:35 and stated the article was false from Reuters. We got a 75% retracement back up, and then we sold off back into the end of the day. I believe that we sold off because people were scared, investors were scared. They had fear because they didn't know if the article from Reuters was correct or if Elon was just lying about them lying. Who knows? Whole bunch of hearsay. Investors don't like non-secure assets, so they saw the pushback up to 169 as a way to get out at relatively break even on the day, and then they sold it back off into the end of the day. At 4:50 on Friday, we got Elon stated Tesla Robotaxi unveil on August 8th. Tesla's price action went from 165 all the way up to 173. Closed Friday's extended trading session at 171.15. This is how I handled the price action on Friday. First, I'm going to demonstrate what the supply and demand curve is for options trading. So as demand goes up, the price of the asset goes up because more people are wanting to buy that asset. As supply goes up, the price of that asset decreases as more people are trying to sell that asset. So what I did on Friday's trading session is I went and used the 2x ETF on Tesla, and I sold in the money puts on this news reaction. I was not panicking. I was not worried along with every other investor because first, the news isn't legitimate until you get it directly from the company. And second, there's always an over-exaggeration on news, especially news that is this crucial to the company. So I sold one put on the initial reaction, this initial 4% drop. And then I sold another put when we hit some support at 160 on Tesla here. Elon comes out, reverses that claim. I end up capitalizing 60 to 70% on the puts that I sold. I sold $8 cash secured puts at a high of 135 at the top of this green candle, and then even up here at 169 on Tesla, right here, these puts were worth $70. So I sold them at 135. I could have bought them back for 70. I ended up just swinging them over the weekend because they'll decay for me. But I could have made 50% on the open position that I had created at the low. If it had gone against me and say Elon didn't come out and say the article was fake, I would have just ended up adding the shares at 8 minus the 135 that I sold them for. So my break even on those shares was 665. We were here at 670. So even by selling it at this low, because the demand for puts was so high, people were overpaying by $7 to $8 per contract. I would have been up $7 to $8 per contract, even if we had just gone flat for the rest of the day. But this is exactly how you want to handle news events. If you have the funds to do so, you want to sell puts when demand is high for puts. You want to sell calls for when demand is high for calls. You want to buy them back when supply is high. That way, not only are you capitalizing on the move, but you're also capitalizing on the way that the asset moves in correlation to the demand and the supply. So that's how I handled the downside. And then what other news did we get on Friday from Tesla? So Elon at 4:50, as I previously stated, he tweeted Tesla Robotaxi unveil on August 8th. And then 10 minutes later, he also tweeted, congratulations, Tesla's AI team hit over 1 billion FSD miles driven. Why is all of this beneficial to Tesla? To start, Tesla is an intuitive AI company. FSD is also an intuitive AI tool. What that needs is it needs data collection so it can improve over time. It learns just like a child, so the more that it's exposed to, the more it learns, the smarter it becomes. 1 billion miles driven, and honestly, 600 million miles driven just in the past 2 months from where Elon released the free FSD trial. This should continue to grow exponentially. The more miles it has driven, the better it's going to be at driving. And my personal opinion is the FSD is going to combine with the $25,000 Tesla, and that is going to give us the Robotaxi. I think that will be what is unveiled on August 8th. And then some other news directly from Tesla's chief designing officer.
What's happening with the 25,000? Yeah. And I know there's been back and forth on this from the Walter Isaacson book, but sure. I think investors and consumers would love to know if the $25,000 car is dead or just on the back burner.
I would just say stay tuned. Don't always believe in what you read.
What's happening?
So if you couldn't hear that, the question was, is the $25,000 EV still on the table? Investors and consumers would like to know. The designing officer then stated, don't believe everything that you read online. Things are about to change. Keep in touch. What he's essentially saying is that he believes that Tesla, without saying it directly, he thinks that Tesla is going to release that $25,000 vehicle. I am speculating that it is going to be unveiled with the Robotaxi on August 8th. So this is all terrific news for Tesla. And this is directly correlating to the price action that Tesla is going to move with. Along with this, the EV is also expected to encompass 70% of Tesla's electric vehicle revenue. Right now, 100% of their revenue is from just the Model Y, the Model 3, and the Cybertruck. This is expected to correlate to 70% of their total revenue, which is huge. Now let's jump into my expectations for price action moving into the following trading week. To start, the reason that this hard release, the August 8th release for Robotaxi, is so beneficial for the company is because A, it's been rumored for the past 5 years, and B, as I previously stated, this is expected to produce 70% of the EV revenue for Tesla. Imagine your commute to work, your hour-long commute to work. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to drive. You can sleep in the car. You can work in the car, cutting your day down by an hour. That's an hour that you're going to get back that you would have otherwise spent sitting in traffic or driving into work. My expectations for price action moving into this week is, first, I think that we're going to see this 177 high again. We got a knockoff off of this 177 high on Thursday's trading session because the market got tanked by Kashkari saying we are not expecting rate cuts into the end of the year. That dropped Tesla. It did end up closing green on the day, but it dropped it from 177 back down to this 170 close. We got all this Reuters news, which I'll delete here. Robotaxi, Elon responding to the Reuters news. Now, if we go to the daily time frame on Tesla, zoom out a little bit, we can see that we have a supply zone here, but if we also draw in the same rectangle at the bottom, using the bottom of this candle and the bottom of these two wicks, we are bouncing off a pretty clear demand zone here. Tesla will open, my estimate is it will most likely open around 171 to 172 on Monday, and then push back up to that 177 mark. Right now, we have no gaps to the downside on Tesla. We have a minor gap up here at 186, and then we have another gap up here at 206. Ultimately, I think Tesla will be trading within the $200 to $300 range, and I know that's a large range, but I think it will be trading between the $200 and $300 range within the next 2 to 3 months, especially as a buy the rumor, sell the news type deal with this Robotaxi hard release. People are going to buy the stock up all the way until August 8th. I believe that they are also going to disregard delivery numbers up until then, and I believe they are going to disregard earnings up until then. The reason being because, again, Tesla is expected to get 70% of its electric vehicle revenue from the Robotaxi. People are going to price that in far ahead of time. That is going to push the stock price up. And if you want to capitalize on this, if you don't have $160 to buy a share of Tesla, go over to the TSL chart. You can buy 100 shares of this for $700, or you can just slowly add shares. Instead of picking up your coffee for the week, go and buy some shares of TSL, excuse me. That concludes today's video. I will catch all you guys later this week for another recap on Tesla's price action, and hopefully we're up there at that 180 to 185 price mark. If you guys have any comments on the video, drop them below, drop a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Peace.